Hey there friends, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and you may have noticed a little bit of change of scenery today. I am actually shooting these videos in the library, so that is super fun. So Topaz is here with me, and we are going to be talking to you about a book that is very, very, very special. So this is a book that I was really excited about reading when it first came out, and then I just didn't get around to it. I kind of kept, putting it on the back burner and getting to other things. And then one of my coworkers had just recently read it and said, you absolutely have to read this book. So I said, all right. So I moved it up on my list and I jumped right into it. And boy, am I glad I did, because this book is not only such a perfect, phenomenal book to read this time of year during spooky season, but it also is, I think, going to be one of my top books, my top YA books of the year. I loved everything about it. And this is a new to me author, so I was not expecting that. It was just so incredible. What book are we talking about? Don't Let the Forest In. And this is by C.G. Drews. Don't Let the Forest In. So you can probably tell right away, just from looking at the cover, which is absolutely gorgeous, by the way, that this is horror. This is definitely a horror book. But it's very different from other horror books that I've read, especially in the YA age range. So I also want to show you the back, because the back is very spooky, but also beautiful. And I think that the cover, also, peep the beautiful green page edges. The other thing that is very interesting about this book that I think you can tell from the cover, but it also permeates throughout the whole story, is yes, this book is a horror story. There are grotesque things in it, there are scary things in it, but it's also a beautiful, beautiful book. This book is beautifully written. This book has beautifully crafted characters. The language in it is just like, it will make your heart stop with joy when you're reading it, because it's just so absolutely gorgeous. There's this really incredible juxtaposition in this book between grotesque things and beautiful things, between savage things and delicate things. There's this constant push and pull between the two extremes that I found absolutely beautiful. So what is the story about? So this story takes place at a private school. So we got the little bit of the dark academia vibes as well. And our main character is Andrew. He is a senior at this school, and his favorite thing to do is write these twisted fairy tales. He loves writing stories. He crafts all these like macabre, dark, sinister sort of stories, but the only one he allows to read them is his best friend, Thomas. Andrew also has a twin sister named Dove, who he loves and is very close to, but Thomas is Thomas is his person, okay? He absolutely loves Thomas as a friend, but also he loves Thomas as more than a friend. And as the two grow closer and closer, that line between friendship and something more definitely starts to blur. So he is the writer, Andrew is the writer, and his best friend Thomas is the artist. So Andrew writes these stories, and then Thomas illustrates them and draws and brings all these creatures to life. Well, at the beginning of the school year, senior year, things seem to get a little bit strange, because Thomas has come back to school. He's very withdrawn, not like his usual self. There's blood on his clothes that he can't really explain. His parents have gone missing. There's just all these really weird things that are happening. And then he starts sneaking out at night and leaving Andrew behind. And Andrew is like, can't stand this because of how close the two of them are. So he sneaks out and follows him into the woods, because of course, in a school like this, in a story like this, the school butts up right against this vast forest, right? So he follows him in the woods, and he finds him battling these monsters, these creatures. And for some reason that nobody can explain, the monsters that Thomas has been drawing have been coming to life, like right out of his art. And he spends his evenings now like slaying them in the woods so that they don't hurt anybody. So of course, Andrew knows that he has to join Thomas in this constant battle, not only to get rid of these monsters that they've created, but also to try to figure out why this is happening. Like, he draws other things and nothing comes to life. Like, why is it these monsters? Why now? Why is this happening? So you have this beautiful story about these two boys who are in this really deep, intense friendship, who possibly are in love with each other. And then on the other hand, you have the story about them fighting monsters in the dead of night in this forest. it is just a beautiful story. And like I said, the thing that really grabbed me about this book was not just the language and how beautifully it was written, and it is beautifully written, let me tell you, but just that really awesome dynamic of going back and forth between beauty and ugliness, and the way that beauty can be ugly and the way that ugliness can be beauty, and just that savage, delicate, you know, back and forth was just absolutely incredible. So I want to read one tiny little quote from this book that was like one of my favorites, because I think it is a really good example of what I mean by the language and just how it's just so savage and beautiful at the same time. For a vicious moment, Andrew thought about slipping his fingers into Thomas's cut, taking hold of his rib and breaking it, pulling the soft, crumbling bone from his chest and sewing it into his own. They'd be forever together, rib against rib, fused in gore and bone and adoration. Whoa. Oh my gosh. The whole book is like this, just filled with horror and monsters attacking and bloodshed and mayhem, and also just these beautiful, beautiful moments between these two lost boys who, you know, find themselves in each other. So like I said, this is really good to read this time of year. We're right up against the end of October. We've got Halloween at the end of the week. If you're looking for one last or one only spooky book to read, highly recommend it. But honestly, I think I'm gonna just revisit this book often throughout the year because I loved it so, so, so much. It's amazing. Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. Well, that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope that this book sounds really awesome and that you're going to be just as spellbound by it as I was. If so, please feel free to come check it out from Farmington Community Library. And also, thank you so very much for watching, friends. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.